Alright folks, welcome back to the first week of me going through Phase 4 of the MCU, and today we'll be deep diving into the first MCU project we got to see after the devastating year of 2020, and that is Wandavision. This is a mini-series which is on Disney Plus and created by Jack Schaefer. Overall they served as head writer with Matt Shakman directing episodes. It takes place just 3 weeks after Endgame, where we see Wanda and Vision living in Westview, as their surroundings start to shift through different decades as they encounter different television tropes. However, it is revealed that this is Wanda's way of dealing with grief. Wanda and Vision are once again played by Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany, Deborah Jo Rupp, and Fred Melamed plays Sharon and Todd Davis, who are a couple in Westview. Catherine Hahn plays Agatha Darkness, who pretends to be a civilian herself, however she turns out to be a witch who wants Wanda's powers. Tiona Paris plays a grown-up Monica Rambeau, who has taken over her mother's role in the rebranded S.H.I.E.L.D., now known as S.W.O.R.D. Randall Park returns as Jimmy Woo, who is now working alongside S.W.O.R.D. Kat Dennings returns as Darcy Lewis, who is now working with them, and Evan Peters seemingly returns as Quicksilver, but turns out to be a wannabe actor called Ralph Boner. The show overall had 9 episodes which premiered from January 15, 2021 to March 5, 2021. As mentioned, Schaefer was head writer who wrote the first and last episode, with following writers writing the rest. Gretchen Enders, Megan McDonnell, Bobaka Savajani, Peter Cameron, Mackenzie Daw, Chuck Hayward, Cameron Squires, and Laura Dooney. The show was first hinted at in September 2018 when Marvel Studios announced they were developing several limited series for Disney+. They then said these would be based on supporting characters in their films, such as Wanda Maximoff. More details would then come out stating that actors would be returning, such as Elizabeth Olsen, and there will be 6 to 8 episodes with the same amount of budget as their movies. More info about this specific show came out by the end of October, where Vision was expected to play a big role, and that the show would focus on the couple's famous relationship. Overall, Feige came with the show's idea based on his love of sitcoms, and how they can be used to escape from your own world. Overall, a fair amount of writers weren't sure about the sitcom element, but Schaefer was on board and pitched her ideas. She was then hired as head writer in January 2019. Disney and Marvel announced the show's title that April. Schaefer would then go on to direct a team of half men, half women, and several people of colour, because she believed having many perspectives would create a better story. These writers all had previous experience of television unlike her as well, which helped with the initial challenge of doing a limited run of episodes. Both the director and head writer got to watch all the existing footage of both the leads, including footage the public have never seen before. Overall, the writer was very much drawn to the scenes such as the Paprika scene and the Scotland scenes from Infinity War. Overall, the name of Westview is a nod to Feige, who was from Westfield, New Jersey. A grief counsellor was hired for the series since the show was about Wanda overcoming her grief. Schaefer very much wanted to show the aspect of the character's joy and humour a lot more in this show. They also very much avoided to make her seem crazy or out of control, since that is something they have overdone in the comic books, and they just wanted to show a very complicated woman. Elizabeth Olsen has also stated that she feels the writer is the first one to fully understand this character and the way she sees the world. For side characters, Olsen has said that Monica's material was rewritten during the filming, since the studio formed a better understanding of what they wanted to do with the character in the future. Darcy Lewis also had a lot more backstory in earlier drafts, but mostly got replaced for more scenes of sword operations outside the Hex. However, the writers have said some of the backstory was mentioned in the last few episodes. Then for Billy and Tommy, Shakeman insisted on making them stay in 10, rather than them being the same age as they are in the Young Avengers comics. This is so Wanda could spend more time with them as kids. Since this show clearly sets up a multiverse of madness, both the director and head writer had talks to the creative teams of Multiverse of Madness, No Way Home, and other Disney Plus series to discuss the connections between them. Benedict Cumberbatch was also planned to be in the show's finale, but was written out so they couldn't take away from Wanda. The two and Feige would then go on to speak with Dick Van Dyke about the making of his sitcom. Other sitcoms they took inspiration from were I Love Lucy, My 3 Sons, Father Knows Best, The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, Bewitched, The Brady Bunch, Family Ties, Out of This World, Malcolm in the Middle, Modern Family, and The Office. There are also meta references to Full House since the main star's older sisters were in that show. For the commercials, earlier versions of them had more of an agenda in the plot, with multiple commercials considered to be in episodes. It was also planned to be a way of Doctor Strange trying to contact Wanda through the sitcom reality. It was also going to appear in one of the commercials for a second to tease his coming in the finale. For casting, Teyonah Parris was announced to be Monica Rambeau in July 2019. Overall, Surefire was surprised that she wasn't announced to be a sitcom alter ego and not have her revealed to be a surprise. The month after, Kat Dennings and Randall Park were revealed to be in the project at D23. This is overall funny since they're minor MCU characters and have both worked on sitcoms, specifically Two Broke Girls and Fresh Off the Boat. Han was also announced at D23 and overall was just described to be the character's neighbour. Deborah Jo Rupp, who was also in the sitcom That 70s Show, was then asked to join the cast by Shakeman, who worked with the actress on the Geffen Playhouse. A risky casting they did have was Evan Peters, since they hadn't had a secondary plan for that storyline, even though it took them a good while to see if the actor could return. 80% of the costumes were made to fit the actors, with the rest rented from different places. Olsen enjoyed exploring how women were viewed in society through each of the costumes. 22 wigs were then made for the series to represent each era, so they didn't need to restyle the actors' hair if they filmed multiple eras in one day. Filming for the show began in November 2019 at Pinewood, Atlanta in Georgia, with Jess Hall serving as the cinematographer. All actors had to watch episodes of past sitcoms before filming to understand the tone and style of each era. The first episode of the show was filmed in 2 days for black and white, while being filmed in front of a live studio audience. Overall, Hall used 47 different camera lenses for the different time periods. Production for the show overall wrapped by November 2020. During film and production had to shut down due to the pandemic, and post-production would go on to use the existing footage they had. They then continued when filming started up again. Tim Rush, who has worked on comedy shows with no visual effects, Zine Baker, who has edited for Ragnarok, and Nona Kyadi, who worked on The Boys, edited this show. Music-wise, it was announced in January 2020 that Christoph Beck would be composing the series. The composer also made sure to compose a new theme for Wanda, which he hopes to be used in future MCU projects, while creating a theme for both the characters' love. It was announced in December 2020 that Robert and Christian Lopez had written the theme songs in the episodes. Both were friends with Shakeman in college and were approached by him in mid-2019. Mentioning college, they went on to say that in the 90s is when they attended college and they didn't have a TV, so they admitted that was the hardest one for them to compose. Marvel Studios originally planned to release the show's first 3 episodes at once, but decided against it because the finale episode would not have been completed in time for the weekly releases from then. They also originally wanted to release it all at once, but chose to do it weekly thanks to The Mandalorian's success. Critically, Rotten Tomatoes gave the series a 91% based on 408 reviews, and Metacritic gave it a 77 out of 100 based on 41 reviews. The show was nominated for 111 awards and has won 27. Overall, this is crediting the show's performances, action, music, production design, editing, and being a great adaptation of the comic books. In my opinion, pretty much every episode of this is perfect. From the script, lighting, cinematography, and aspect ratio, which really captures a loving parody of a classic sitcom. I'd say the show somewhat reminds me of the storytelling of The Truman Show in some ways, from the way we slowly get more hints to the mystery of this sitcom's reality. Overall, this is a show that is fun, somewhat funny, and has brilliant performances, until, well, the final episode, where we go full on MCU final battle. And it feels very rushed, which kills some of the potential of the smaller storylines it had. Overall, I'll give it a solid 4 out of 5 or an 8 out of 10. So that was overall the making of Wandavision and my own thoughts on the show. Honestly, this whole phase at the minute feels very different compared to the rest of the MCU, and I'm not sure why. And I've got a little feeling it's due to more ambitious things like this. I'd say this is one of the most ambitious things we've seen in the MCU probably ever. Definitely research as much as Black Panther was. And yeah, I very much love it. It's just the last episode that puts it down a few points, to be honest. And yeah, I haven't really got anything else to say really. What are your thoughts, guys? Please comment down below with your own thoughts on the show. And if I've missed out some facts, please comment down them below as well, because I'd love to hear them. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you've been watching the MCU videos for a good while now. Honestly, it makes my day, but is it the main priority? Not really, it's just to talk about things I love or hate, whatever. At the minute this is the one I love. But yeah, it's something I love to talk about, and at the same time I get to video edit, something I also love to do. So yeah, I haven't really got anything else to say as mentioned, so I'll see you next week. Peace.
Why is it the golden age of television if it's all in black and white?
Question everything. We did. The all-new Hyundai Tucson. Marvel Studios' Wandavision. All episodes now streaming.